You can see it's a phlegmy day. Just take a look behind me. Ooh, look at that. Very phlegmy, very phlegmy. Anytime it is overcast, hey, it's like you get an automatic blast because it's like snot rockets blasting off everywhere. You can see it's really, look at how congested I am. I was singing before I came over here. Zeros and ones, zeros and ones, zeros and ones. Zeros and ones, zeros and ones, zeros and ones, zeros and ones. Zeros and ones. Now, what you do is you sample that and then you put a beat behind it, okay? So I'm gonna take it easy. Drink my coffee. That's right. Today we're tapping into the Eggyverse once again because next week is a new week. And we have to have new things to talk about. Go take a look at every single episode. Now, don't forget the one I talked about where Comedy Central was racist. Right? That got 5 times the more hits. Sorry, guys. I'm like, 5 times. 5 times more hits. Okay? 5 times more hits. By tapping into my subconscious, I'm also able to figure out things from my past, which creates a mystery. My neck feels a lot better today. Thanks a lot for asking. They got nice parks here. You can work out, do all that stuff. My working out is walking. That's what I do. I had a great night's sleep last night. Plenty of lucid dreaming. Okay. Tomorrow's a shave day. It's just riffing. I'm just riffing right now. I just woke up, came straight here to do my show. This is how I do my show now. I only go live, and you can see most of my other shows. They're not edited. Sorry, I'm looking. Most of my other shows, they're not edited. So, right, you can see what I do here. And I'm tapping. I had some crazy dreams. I don't write them down, so they're tough to remember. We all know that, right? And thank goodness for coffee, man. I found an old cup laying around somewhere. I don't know who it belongs to. And the brown contents inside of it, no. I went ahead and bought instant coffee. I'm gonna see how I feel, if it can get my caffeine levels up. Usually there's no caffeine in this kind of stuff, but we're gonna see. It's just basically chocolate milk. That's all it is. So we can clearly see how many concepts that I created on this show. I've been doing this show for about 6 months. I come on here for a half an hour and I riff, okay? And you can see how many, just take a look for yourself. And that doesn't include all of them, okay? This isn't all of them. I have ideas and core concepts for a lot of things. I am a in search of man, okay? In the vein of Leonard Nimoy, you know, not his album, The Golden Throat himself, but in the vein of that television show where life still is a mystery. I believe Joe Rogan kind of took over for this, right? Joe Rogan is in search of writ large, where you have these pseudo-intellectuals coming on and they talk about their speciality, right? Whatever their speciality is. Well, I don't like using broad terms like science because to me science is the scientific method, but whatever industry they work in, usually engineering or bioengineering, okay? So now we're sorry. Oh, great show, guys. Sorry. I was really excited to get here and drink my coffee, really. Thank you. Please stand by. Okay. Let's wait for something to happen. Yesterday I was talking about accelerationalism. I call it accelerationalism. It's better known as accelerationism. And what these people don't understand that's happening is that we are accelerating into the future. And that's what they want. So what is this future going to be? And we have every right to form a hypothesis about what it might be. What's going on? Why are they pushing certain core concepts to very young individuals? Okay, I saw something about, again, I talk about celebrity and celebrities, and I'm not like, ugh. I've worked with celebrities before, so I'm not gaga over them, and I'm also not putting them down. What we have to do is we have to use them like an archetype in mythology. And you can say, okay, Megan Fox, there was an article about Megan Fox, and Megan Fox has 3 sons, and her husband has a different take on the 3 sons than she does. Okay, let's just say that. She has a more feminine take on her sons. What's his name? Austin Taylor Green? Like, what's this guy? It was like on a TV show like once. How did I get these really smoking hot chicks? The funny part is, Bill Maher in Bill Maher's basement, which I love hanging out. I hang out virtually in Bill Maher's basement. I have the black light on and the what's that ooze? It's like a lava lamp. I got the lava lamp. You got the blacklight posters in Bill Maher's basement, man. You know, we used to call them doobies back then. That's why they had the Doobie Brothers. Minute by minute by minute by minute, I keep holding on. I was like, which doobie you be? That's my generation, okay? You gotta understand something. I'm 57 years old, and I'll stop saying that. I think everybody knows that. So, now this is an interactive show. You guys can help me out, and you can leave a comment in the comments like, yeah, I went to Megan Fox's social media, because I'm not going to do it, and I saw that she is on both Instagram and Twitter. Okay? So now we can kind of deduce that maybe the AI on Instagram, as opposed to Twitter, because we know about the big MMA fight between the 2 nerds. They're calling him Elon Tusk because he looks like the walrus, because he's got that walrus bod. I mean, I've got single dad bod. Okay, that's what I have. Unfortunately, usually only other single dads are attracted to it. Ugh. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Just kidding. I think we should be able to make jokes like that and have friends of any proclivity. You should be able to make jokes about anything. Okay. So, we can kind of deduce that her AI that's ascribed to her, right, might be sending her confirmation bias notions, okay? Because this is all based on the testimony of Frances Haugen, which I do not have in my playlist. You have to look it up yourself. You got to do this homework. And you have to go to my comment section and you have to take me to task. Say, Gordon, you don't know what you're talking about. That's why none of my detractors can sue me. I want you to sue me if I've named you by name. If I doxed you, oh my God. If I doxed you, go ahead and sue me. Go ahead. Go ahead, shut my show down. Okay? Go ahead. I'll start another one. I'll just go start another channel. It's as simple as that. I'll start another channel and, you know, we'll settle in court. Right? But I'm a guy, like I'm used to dealing with other guys. And, you know, if you got some schmuck who's calling you a car thief because I've got a stolen car on my criminal record, if that's all I am to you as a car thief, then we would never be friends, right? A person is a lot more than their record. And these people are alleged rebels. They're alleged rebels. So right? The only things guys like me would say would be like, dude, how'd you do that? How'd you pull it off? That's the first thing I would ask, right? If I was in a band with a guy and he was a songwriter for the band and I found out that, you know, he has a stolen car on his record, bro, tell me what happened. Oh, you wrote a book about it? You know, show me the book. Really? Oh, that's interesting, Gordon. Not one person. Not one. not one person. I don't expect the ladies in my family to really grasp anything that I have, any of my concepts. But what I would do if I had a family is I would maybe not understand why my daughter or son is doing what they're doing. But as long as they're not hurting anybody, especially themselves, I wouldn't really care. I'd be like, okay, I'll take you to your, whatever kids are doing now, rave. I don't know. I'll take you to your DJ lessons for EDM. Wikipedia. That's right. Lex Friedman. Ooh. He dresses almost as spiffy as I do, because he wears a suit and tie every day. He has a job at MIT. He's an MIT grad. Lex Friedman. I talk about the shows that I actually watch. I don't shoot fish in a barrel. Why? Because I like fish. I'd rather catch them and eat them. I don't want to shoot them. I like them. And if I'm not eating them, then I'll watch them swim around. Okay? So I'm critical of shows that I actually watch. So, oh man, I should have doubled down on this. Instant coffee. There's not going to be any caffeine in here. So what were we talking about? Lex Friedman was taking Wikipedia to task. Okay? He's saying, and again, when I say I'm wiki alma mater, what I'm saying is that I look up things for physics, biology, the esoteric. There's a lot of esoteric things on Wikipedia, and that's what I use it for. Okay? I don't use it for celebrity stuff. I mean, if I have to look up a person to find out their birthday, right? Something like that. Now, don't forget, my eyes are leaky. Yeah. So all this phlegmy. They got powdered milk in here, so. Right? So that's how I use Wikipedia. And so it's really for physics and electronics and stuff like that. Things that I'm questioning in my life. I never had that type of education as a young man, and so by the time I was in my 50s, not in my 50s, but approaching 50, was when I really started getting into physics. But anyway, so we can kind of deduce that maybe the AI that's ascribed to Megan Fox, did I say her name right? Did I call her Jennifer Fox? I don't know these people. Right? I urge you to check out Jennifer's Body. It's really one of the greatest films. Great film. I'm a huge Diablo Cody fan. I think everybody knows that. I mean, I don't like everything that she's done, but I don't expect anyone to like everything that anybody's done. I'm a huge Roman Coppola fan. I really like the chances that he's taken. Sorry. I told you it's the Eggyverse, and I got like yellow matter custard in my eye. I'll have to dip off and like, it's all right. Right. The show's just developing. I don't know what I was talking about. So, anyways, so Lex Friedman was taking Wikipedia to task, and mostly what he was saying, and he mentioned the cherry picking fallacy. Okay, this is what the news media does. The news media is all filled with fallacies, and I'm talking about the legacy dinosaur media, right? Not the Stallonosaurus media. What came first, the chicken or the egg? Me, Stallonosaurus, and I'd love to see it. I'd love to see a cartoon called Stallonosaurus, where Stallonosaurus, his mother is an astrologer, but he's convinced that the holes in the sky, that they're in a terrarium and that those are breathing holes. How else are you supposed to breathe? You got the holes in the terrarium for whatever. So, thank you very much for joining the show. I really appreciate it. I got one watcher. Yeah. We are in Los Angeles. I'm so close. I'm sorry. It's how I set this thing up. It might fall over. I don't know. It's not a professional show. It's not a produced show. It's just me riffing off the top of my head. And what we're doing is we're tapping into my subconscious. And sometimes what we come up with is very, very scary stuff. And you can't be afraid of this scary stuff. And if it bothers you, you got to change the channel. Get out of here. Take a hike. So right now we're chilling in Los Angeles. That's all I'm going to say. At an undisclosed location. Okay. So what's happening here? What's happening? Why does she have this extreme point of view that her husband doesn't share? Why do people think that they belong to a group that's being persecuted? In my lifetime, in the 1980s, I never saw LGBT as being persecuted, right? We all had LGBT people in our family, right? In my lifetime, I never saw an African American being persecuted, ever. I just didn't. Did I see racial animosity? Yeah. Mostly it was forced. Mostly it was forced because you're being fed a line of bullshit. Oops. Right? You're being fed a line of BS. You're being told. You're being ostracized for your differences. When the fact is, through mythology, take a look at Othello, even though it is a tragedy, right? Take a look at OJ and Othello, how they were supposed to be the same, how they were using these Sioux ops aside. You can put that together yourself. Sioux ops aside, the operation that's Sioux, and they were using them on him. Right? And then they use them electronically on people like me, and I don't appreciate it. And again, if you're part of this running game, let me tell you something. What's the most valuable thing in this world? The most valuable thing in this world is time. It's time. That's why I went like that. That's a perfect circle, okay? You don't let the media redefine what this is for you, right? It came from, take a look at Silver Linings Playbook, okay? He explains where this came from through the elite, right? Through the people who are actually in the peerage, through the people who have privilege and not some mullet wearing person like Theo Vaughn, right? A person in your same median income can't have privilege over you. It doesn't make any sense, right? So this represents the perfect circle, right? And I was talking about Maynard from Tool, and these bands, they married prog with like metal, just prog with rock and roll. I guess it's metal. I don't know. It's not very metal. Metal is usually shredding. It's not much shredding. I'm not sure what they were doing. Very prog. And there was a rise of this music, and this is the kind of music I call 89X. Okay? I didn't listen to this music. I only listened to it recently so I could check it out. Maynard from Tool was just filled with B-U-T-T jokes. Just nonstop. Enemas. Everything was a butt joke. Everything. And it was just like, then they got into the esoteric realm, and I get that. But you have to, right? If you're a rock group, you have to get your audience engaged. You have to keep their mind engaged. And then where would it go? Right back to a butt joke, right? Usually a same-sex butt joke. And you're looking at these audiences in the 90s, and they're filled with cargo shorts and ball caps. It looks like this is a total uniform. I mean, again, no wonder it gave rise to people like Jack White, who look a little bit different, okay? You know, and played a little different style of music. Now, don't forget, when I came up with Bob in my neighborhood, it was just me and him. In order for me to write songs, all I need is a drummer. And I tell that drummer what to do and what to play. How do I do that? By tapping into the Eggyverse, okay? And you'll see the same phenomena when you watch. The only thing I can liken it to is the Beatles, the Peter Jackson Beatles, which I can only catch snippets on YouTube. I'm YouTube exclusive, yay. Thanks, YouTube. Thanks, Google. I know you and I got a little bit of beef, but that's okay. We can kiss and make up. Oh, jeez. Ow. Eskimo kiss. So, right, Peter Jackson's wife was in a punk rock band, okay? Now, a little bit about my project. It is about a punk rock band for 10 years. They're obsessed with the director. Then, after this this, the life of the band is over, which you keep flashing back to the film director that they're obsessed with. You're going to go into Mario, that is a Melvin Van Peebles. I'm a Mario man. I like Mario Van Peebles. And you can go into Gordon Parks, who did Shaft, okay? And you go into this blaxploitation, a great person for this, to kind of tap into. I know a couple people. There's an African-American film study professor that I came up with who started with Film Threat magazine. Then you have people like Tarantino. They know all about these exploitation films. And you would, this is what I'm talking about, guys. You would shoot the film. I keep saying shoot. You would film the film. Okay? You're going to make a film, an exploitation film, that's going to be featured, that was made 30 years before the kids who are watching it. And they're getting this inspiration. You see what I'm saying? So what you're doing is you're bringing these generations together instead of like dividing them. Okay, doomer. Okay, boomer. Okay, how you doing? Good morning. I would be considered a doomer. I mean, I might be a trad X, but I would be a doomer because, first of all, you just, it's not, again, I guess you're just not accentuating the positive, eliminating the negative. What you're doing is you're just a complete and utter skeptic, right? When you're a doomer, you're just like, ugh. Now, the doomers of these new generations, they believe that the planet is going to die, all right? So I want to say that climate change is local. It's going to be local. Politics is going to be local. Like I said, I have to buy instant coffee. Why? I got to check the caffeine. It's just not, it's not dark enough. It's just really, I don't taste any coffee. Okay. Yeah. So, about my project, Linoleum Blown Apart. It's going to go into, just like Breaking Bad, it's going to go into the 5th season. So, the punk rock stuff is going to be over in 3 seasons. And then they're going to hand off the torch in 1996, possibly by having somebody sample something from the band Linoleum Blown Apart and doing like a rap song that's almost a tribute to it. Now, I talk about my friend Bob. He's passed away. Robert Rebant. Here's to you, man. I'll pour a little bit out for you. There you go. That's what you do. Pour a little bit out. A little for him and a little more for me. Right? So get my thoughts together. All one of them. So you could have this, with my friend Bob, when we played at our high school, Finney High School in Detroit, Daryl Maniac went to that high school, and when I got a phone call saying that Daryl Maniac daughter was in trouble, me and Joe went straight there. We went straight to the house where we thought she were. We walked right inside, and I was literally going to pick her up and take her out and take her back, which would have been a kidnapping charge if the police were involved. There was drugs involved. I risked my life by going into that property. Can you read between the lines now? Eh? Michigan? Michigan? Eh? Oh, here comes the fist. Take it easy, fist. You see what I'm saying? These people had no right canceling me, and it was a group effort, and that's why my wife was convinced, because she was part of this, I hate to say it, but she was part of this Democrat machine, and that's who was involved in this, because that's why it went from my wife to Michigan, because she was a Democrat, and she was working on behalf of the Democrats in New York. There was Democrats, the guys who were talking me and all this kind of stuff, and like ran these ops. It appears to be that you're not allowed to be a Republican or whatever. We live in a two-party system, guys. Okay, you can either vote either way. You can't shut people out for how they vote. Okay, if you want to go put on a t-shirt right? That's your business. But again, it's looking like we're factionalizing a lot more. Like, you're going to have to move. You have to move out of cities. You got to move out of states. They're pushing people out. And they might be doing it electronically. And what I'm trying to tell you is they're sending you confirmation bias stories from Media Deep Blue in your device. Clicky, clicky, swipey, swipey, scrolly, scrolly, likey, likey. And it is indoctrinating you as to what's going on in the world. And you would literally see this is what's at issue here. Now, I don't see what somebody else's scroll is. They don't see what my scroll is. And so now they're developing these ideas and notions based on their scrolly scroll. Well, that's based on Media Deep Blue. You're not checking any of these stories. You're not checking any of them. Oh, don't worry, we fact check them for you. That's why they created this whole notion. You know, again, you're putting your faith into the fact that this stuff is real. And then you come to find out, years later, like I showed you on that one story that I just deconstructed, that it was all false. Right? So again, how much emotional investment are you going to put into it? Well, if you have these apps on your phone, you're going to put up quite a bit, because it's literally tapping into your neurological network. And it's not cool. Okay, but hey, that's the future. That's the fine print that you sign when you put these apps on your phone. Sorry, I'm so close. Right. So with me and Bob at our high school, we did one punk rock song and we did one rap song, and this was 1984, guys. We loved rap so much, we loved it. It was just like, whoa, what is this? Right? And I talk about meeting George Clinton from the Clinton Parliament Funkadelic. I talk about it in my book, Two-Legged Animal. That's all right, whatever. The novel that I'm writing now, the novelization for this television show, was my book, Two-Legged Animal. So I'm just kind of carrying that over. I'm getting into fiction, so I'm not writing about my real life, but obviously I'm taking things from my real life and I'm putting them in this. So as I was saying, right at the beginning of this episode, take what I say at the beginning of the episode and sample it and put a beat behind it, okay? And so that's what these people are gonna do. And when you get out of the punk rock universe and you melt right into this rap universe, that's what they're gonna do. They're gonna be watching these exploitation films that are gonna be created for the series. You're not gonna go and find, oh, we're finding rare exploitation films and we're using them in this series. You're actually going to capture the essence. You're gonna watch 10 of these things, 10 old exploitation films, and you're gonna create a new one, right? Similar to how in Jackie Brown, Quentin Tarantino created that thing where the girls with guns, right? They're watching. It's like an infomercial for guns, right? So it's gonna be similar to that. You're gonna create the film, okay? Then the kids in the universe that's happening, the next generation, 30 years later, 40 years later maybe, are going to be sampling from these things, right? They're going to be looking into the old bands and they're going to sample from them. Then you're going to create the music behind it. You're going to create the music, and you're going to create the storyline, the plot line as well. Do you see how vast and interconnected this is? Do you see how complex this is? Now, the reason I bring this up is the reason I brought up Oliver Stone's trilogy of films, Natural Born Killers, or JFK, and U-Turn, because he had that sporadic editing. And that's how our minds are moving, with this kinetic energy. And with the advent of the computer, our minds are ready for this. They're getting into everything I saw on LinkedIn. LinkedIn's been coming up lately. Jesus Christ. Everything's about Marvel Universe. Everything's about DC Universe. Okay. But you want something to go with the Gen X, Boomer, not so silent generation. Take it easy. Yeah, right? For us older people who are what? They're collecting pensions. They're hanging out at home. They want to watch something good. They want to watch, like, what is this? They're like, oh, I can kind of relate with this because when I was a kid, they used to show Hitchcock movies on TV. This is like a Hitchcock movie. And the kids in the Linoleum Blown Apart universe are making fun of it. Okay? And again, you can go into 5 seasons of this. You can have directors, like, I apologize, but I just got to call it like I see it. It's looking like Asteroid City. It's very beautiful. I love the fact that they used the costume designer from Stanley Kubrick. Jason Schwartzman is a Stanley Kubrick style photographer, right? It just didn't really gel. And around this time, I didn't know this film was coming out. In case you guys don't know, it's the first time hearing this story, I wrote a song about Stanley Kubrick because I was so influenced by him, and that's the influence for Linoleum Blown Apart. There's a character named Walter. He's a Stanley Kubrick style director, but it's not like Jason Schwartzman where he's gonna look like him. He's just inspired by all the directors, Hitchcock, everybody, especially Corman, especially Roger Corman, because you know he's gonna fit in the timeline of these other directors, and they're gonna say, you know, it would be like Reds, you know, where they come on and they interview the old directors or something like, oh yeah, that Walter, I remember, yeah, he was great, he was terrific kid. I love Reds. It's one of the greatest films of all time. Warren Beatty. I'm a huge Warren Beatty fan. Okay. I'm a huge fan of Hollywood Babylon. You guys want a Hollywood Babylon? The Foo Fighters say that they have a brand new album out. But did you know that Pat Smear was in 3 bands? Talk about read between the lines. Pat Smear has been in 3 bands with premature deaths. Those bands are as follows: the Foo Fighters, premature death of the drummer; Nirvana, premature death of Kurt Cobain; and the Germs, premature death of Darby Crash. Okay? So, this is my Hollywood Babylon. I just call it Hollywood Babylon. Why? Because the Misfits had a song called Hollywood Babylon. Kenneth Anger had a book called Hollywood Babylon. Okay? And I actually had that book a long time ago. I read I, Fatty, which is a first-person account of Fatty Arbuckle. That was written by, it's the Permanent Midnight guy. You have to look it up yourself. I'm riffing off the top of my head. We're creating a new week of shows. I come at you every single day. We're going to create something different to get into. You could see what the shows were like this week. You could see as many things that I've come up with, as many ideas. If I could sit down and write all this stuff down, which I'm going to try to a little bit today, as best as I can, I'll be writing a lot of this stuff down. I'm supposed to be writing my novel, but I ran into some really bad technical difficulties. If you ever don't see me, stay tuned. I'll come back somehow. I want people to sue me if I called you out by name. Okay? And I just want to say thank you very much for watching my show. I appreciate it more. You let me know. Bye. Can't hit the button.